All right, let's dive right in. We're about to talk about the absolute mountain of cash pouring into artificial intelligence right now. But these numbers, as insane as they are, tell a much bigger story than just technology. It's about the birth of a whole new kind of global power. So let's start with the money. Okay, first up, just look at this number. $100 billion. Now, that's not a company's total worth. That's what OpenAI is reportedly trying to raise in a single funding round. I mean, to put that in a perspective, that's more than the entire yearly economic output of countries like Slovakia or Guatemala. It's just staggering.
And if that funding round actually happens, it could launch OpenAI's valuation to this ridiculous figure, $830 billion. They are on an absolute rocket ship, rocketing towards a trillion-dollar valuation, and it's all driven by this desperate need for more and more computing power for whatever's coming next.
And it's not just the AI-first companies either. Even the established giants are spending huge amounts of money just to keep up. Apple recently just dropped $2 billion on a company called Q.AI. This is a specialized firm whose tech might one day let Siri understand your facial expressions. The market is screaming one clear message: get in or get left behind.
So there's no question, this is the AI gold rush. The money is flowing like crazy. But it really begs the question you see right here. What are they actually building with all this cash? And it turns out, the answer is a lot bigger than just some smarter apps on your phone. First and foremost, they're building an industry that looks a lot like a fierce arms race. And this isn't just friendly competition, you know? This is a really high-stakes battle for total market supremacy. And all those billions of dollars, that's the ammunition.
And you can see this battle playing out right in front of us. We're watching a direct race to the stock market between the two heavyweights, OpenAI and its main competitor Anthropic. Reports are saying that OpenAI is aiming for a 2026 IPO specifically to lock in that critical first-mover advantage before Anthropic even gets a chance to go public.
But here's a twist. While these two giants are duking it out for the top spot, the real power brokers, the companies that control the infrastructure, they're playing a totally different game. They're basically acting like arms dealers, supplying the weapons to all sides of the conflict.
Just take a look at Microsoft's strategy. On one hand, they are a primary backer of OpenAI, ready to pour more money into the market leader, but at the same time, they just signed a $750 million deal with Perplexity AI, a direct rival. So they're not just betting on one horse, they're building the entire racetrack and selling tickets to everybody.
But this race, it isn't just happening in boardrooms and on Wall Street. The nonstop need for more data and real-world testing is pushing these companies to operate on a truly planetary scale. They're effectively turning entire nations into their own private proving grounds.
A perfect example of this is what Google's been doing in India. The company has basically turned the entire country into the single biggest market for its Gemini-powered educational tools. It's created this massive real-world laboratory for its AI. And that's exactly what we mean when we say an AI proving ground. It's this strategy of using a huge population to test, to refine, and to scale up a new technology. You basically work out all the kinks with millions of users in one key market before you roll it out to the rest of the world.
And the scale we're talking about here is it's staggering. The market for these tools in India now completely dwarfs the rest of the world combined. So this isn't some small beta test, it's a nation-scale deployment. And it just shows you how vital these proving grounds have become in the race for global AI dominance.
So this global scale, this unbelievable accumulation of money and power, it all inevitably leads to a really fundamental question. When the ambitions of these new corporate giants clash with the power of an actual nation-state, who is really in control?
And that question, it's not a hypothetical anymore. According to recent reports, the Pentagon, the most powerful military on Earth, is actively trying to get critical safety protocols removed from AI systems so they can be used in weapons.
So here's the heart of the conflict. You've got the U.S. Department of Defense in a direct standoff with the AI company Anthropic. The Pentagon wants to use Anthropic's really powerful AI for military stuff, but the company's own built-in safety features are getting in the way. And the Pentagon is reportedly pushing for some major changes. They want Anthropic to rip out its own safeguards to allow for things like autonomous weapon targeting and even domestic surveillance. Now, for the moment, Anthropic is holding its ground, which is creating this direct clash between a corporation's rules and a superpower's wishes.
And this brings us to the fundamental question of this whole new era. Who actually has sovereignty over this technology?
Is it the company that built it and wrote its ethical code? Or is it the government that wants to turn it into a weapon?
So, when you start to connect all these dots, the unbelievable funding, the global scale, the direct clashes with governments, it all points to the rise of something totally new. A new kind of power that we're calling corporate sovereigns.
And all of a sudden, the gold rush isn't just about getting rich. The arms race isn't just about market share. And the fights with governments, they're not isolated incidents. They are all symptoms of these companies evolving into a completely new kind of entity with a totally new kind of power.
So what exactly defines a corporate sovereign? Well, based on everything we've seen, it's an entity with a near trillion-dollar valuation, one that controls a foundational technology that the whole world depends on. It operates on a planetary scale, using entire nations as its labs, and maybe most importantly, it has the power to define and to defend its own ethical boundaries, even against a superpower.
Which leaves us with one final and really critical question. In a world where these new sovereigns are rising, backed by more money than we can even comprehend, and controlling the very code that's going to run our future, who really gets to be in charge?